My name is Mateo, and for 12 years I've hauled dry freight across the northern corridors of Mexico. You don't spend that many nights alone on the asphalt without learning how to read the dark. The hum of a diesel engine at 3,000 RPM, the hiss of air brakes cooling, the way your headlights carve a tunnel through the fog, they become a rhythm. A comfort. But some roads don't want you comfortable, they want you awake. This is the story of the night the highway stopped being a route and started being a warning. I was running Carretera Federal 45, the old spine that cuts through the Chihuahuan desert toward Ciudad Juarez. Solo load. Refrigerated units were off, just pallets of industrial parts. I'd pulled out of a truck stop near Delicias around 10 at night, belly full, logbook signed, eyes clear. I like the desert at night. No traffic. No horns. Just you, the tires, and the sky pressing down like a heavy blanket. By 1 in the morning, I'd passed the last lit gas station. The dashboard glowed green. The CB radio sat quiet on channel 19. I had my coffee cooling in the cup holder, the AC humming, and my mirrors showing nothing but black behind me. Everything was normal, exactly as it should be. Until it wasn't. It started with a click, not the radio turning on, the kind of click you hear when a circuit completes. Then, static. Not the white noise of an empty frequency, static that breathed, like someone inhaling slowly, then exhaling. I reached for the volume knob, thinking a stray signal was bleeding through. That's when I heard my own voice, not a recording, not an echo. My voice, clear and calm, speaking through the speaker. Don't trust the white lines after mile 287. They shift. I froze. My hand stayed on the wheel, but my chest tightened. I checked the GPS. It read 286.8. I hadn't hit 287 yet. I told myself it was fatigue. Sleep deprivation does strange things to the mind. I cracked the window, let the cold desert air hit my face, and kept driving. 2 miles later, the lane markers changed. Not faded, moved. The solid white line on my right curved inward by 3 feet. The dashed center line stretched, then compressed like it was breathing. I blinked, rubbed my eyes. Looked again. The road was straight, perfectly straight, but my tires were tracking slightly off-center. I tapped the brakes. The truck shuddered. The CB clicked again. Same voice. My voice. Check your mirrors. Not the glass, the frame. I didn't want to look, but I did. In the lower corner of my passenger side mirror, where the metal housing meets the glass, I saw it. A handprint. Smudged. Greasy. Like someone had pressed their palm against the outside of the truck. I was doing 55 miles an hour. No one could be out there. I slowed to 40. The handprint stayed. Then, slowly, like condensation evaporating, it faded. I didn't speak. Didn't touch the radio, just gripped the wheel and told myself it was a trick of the light. I was wrong. I decided to pull over at the next designated rest area, just to reset, to stretch my legs, to convince myself I hadn't lost it. The sign appeared out of nowhere, Ria de Descanso, 2 km. I hadn't seen it on my route sheet. Rest stops don't just materialize in the middle of decommissioned federal corridors, but I followed it anyway. Turned off the main line. Gravel crunched under my tires. The lot was empty. No other trucks. No vending machines humming. Just cracked concrete, a rusted picnic table, and a payphone leaning against a cinder block wall like it was tired of standing. I killed the engine. The silence hit me like a physical weight. No wind, no insects, just the ticking of my cooling engine. I stepped out. The air smelled like wet asphalt and old diesel. I walked to the cab door, grabbed my flashlight, and checked the passenger side. No handprint. Just dust. I sighed. Turned back toward the truck. That's when I heard footsteps. Not mine, heavier, slower, coming from behind the payphone. I froze, shined the light, nothing. I called out, "Quinanda, ah?" Silence. Then the CB inside my cab crackled, not static this time, dispatch. But the voice was wrong, too crisp, too old, like it was coming through a tin can. Unit 44, confirm load status. Weigh-in required at ghost scale. Proceed to mile 289. My blood went cold. Unit 44 is my truck's fleet designation. But we don't use call signs like that anymore. That format was phased out in 2009. And there is no way station at 289. I walked back to the cab, heart hammering. Opened the door. The radio was lit. Channel 19. But the display read, ghost scale, active. I didn't touch it. I backed away, looked toward the edge of the lot. The desert was flat. Endless. But something had changed. The sand wasn't uniform anymore. It was rippling. Like water, or like something had been dragged through it recently. I followed the tracks. They led past the payphone, toward a chain-link fence I hadn't noticed before. Beyond it, a sign hung crooked on two posts, Estación de Pasaje, Cerrado 1997. A way station, closed decades ago. I shouldn't have gone closer, but I did. The gate was open. The asphalt beyond was cracked, swallowed by weeds and time. I stepped through. The air grew heavier, colder. My flashlight beam caught something on the ground. A logbook, leather-bound, water-stained. I picked it up. Opened it. Pages and pages of entries. Dates, license plates, cargo weights, all normal until the last 10 pages. The ink changed, faded, smudged. Names I didn't recognize, dates stretching back to the 80s, and every single final entry ended with the same two words, undelivered. I flipped to the very last page. The paper was damp. The handwriting was fresh. It read, Mateo R. Unit 44, Route 45 North, status, pending. My hands shook. I dropped the book, turned to leave. The CB in my truck, still parked 50 yards away, crackled to life. My voice again, but slower. Tired. You're running out of road, Mateo. Turn around. I ran. Didn't look back. Didn't breathe right. Reached the cab. Yanked the door open. Slid inside. Turned the key. The engine didn't crank. The dashboard stayed dark. Dead. I tried again. Nothing. I grabbed the CB mic. Pressed the transmit button. Mayday, Mayday. Unit 44 stranded at ghost scale. Request immediate backup, static. Then a voice. Not mine. Not dispatch. A chorus. Dozens of voices. Overlapping. Whispering. Crying. All saying the same thing. We never crossed the line. I dropped the mic. Stepped out. The desert was gone. In its place was a stretch of cracked highway, lined with rusted guardrails and shattered reflectors. And, in the center of it, parked crooked across both lanes, was a truck. A 1998 International 9400 cab crushed on the driver's side. Trailer split open. Cargo spilled across the asphalt. Not industrial parts. Personal items. Photographs. Children's shoes. A faded birthday banner. A dashboard calendar frozen on March 12, 1997. I walked toward it. My boots crunched on broken glass. The air smelled like burnt wiring and old rain. I reached the cab door. It was open. Inside, the seat was empty, but the logbook on the passenger dash was open. The final entry was written in pencil. Driver E. Vargas. Cargo, personal. Destination, home. Status, never arrived. I touched the page. The paper was warm. Then the radio in the wrecked truck turned on. A voice crackled through. Clear, calm, familiar. It was the dispatcher from 1997. Unit 44, you've reached the end of the active route. All pending deliveries are now yours to carry. I backed away. Turned. A figure stood at the edge of the wreck, wearing a faded uniform, holding a clipboard. Face obscured by shadow. It didn't move. Didn't speak. Just pointed toward the desert. I looked. A path of broken taillights stretched into the dark, leading nowhere. I didn't wait. I ran back to my truck. Didn't look back. Didn't breathe. grabbed the keys, turned them. The engine roared to life on the first try. Dashboard lit, radio silent. I threw it in gear, drove. Didn't stop until the sun cracked the horizon. I hit a railway station near Janos, called dispatch, reported everything. They put me on hold. Came back 10 minutes later, voice tight, Mateo. Federal 45, Mile 289, was decommissioned in 1997 after a fatal rollover. Driver Enrique Vargas. Cargo manifest listed as industrial parts. Personal effects never recovered. Official report says mechanical failure. Unofficial says the road swallowed him. Unit 44's number was retired the same week. It was reassigned to your fleet in 2018. We don't know why. I sat in my cab, hands shaking. Coffee cold. I opened my logbook. The smudged entry was gone, replaced by clean, fresh ink. Delivered. Route complete. I never drove that stretch again. Requested a permanent reroute. Dispatch approved it without question. But sometimes, when the desert wind howls against my window, or when the CB crackles with static on a dead frequency, I hear it. My own voice. Warning the next driver who'll take the night run, don't trust the white lines. They shift after midnight. I don't know why the road chose me. Maybe because I was alone. Maybe because I was paying attention. Or maybe because some deliveries aren't meant to be completed. They're meant to be witnessed and passed on. The asphalt holds more than tire tracks. It holds echoes, memories, drivers who never made it home. If you've ever driven a lonely stretch after dark, you already know the silence isn't empty. It's waiting. I'm Mateo. This is my story. If it kept you checking your mirrors, drop a in the comments. If you've got your own highway encounter, share it below. I read every single one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss another drop into the unknown. Stay safe, keep your eyes on the road, and remember, not every shadow in your mirrors is just a shadow. Thanks for riding along. I'll see you on the next stretch.